One easy way to boost sales. Thanks for tuning in today. This is probably one of my most favorite things to share from my playbook in being a business owner, in spending time turning around businesses. I really enjoy talking about this. So I'm going to share something with you that has been a great complement to the cash flow quadrant. Click the link below or in the show notes to see what that's all about. But that is basically a framework that I use to move businesses from struggling to investing and to ultimately help an entrepreneur move their business from a struggling position all the way through to where they're flush with cash. So make sure you check that out. But in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about a tactic that I use. And again, it caters to, kind of my nerdy Excel finance brain. So I'm going to share that with you. I'm very excited to do that. But before I do, I just want to say thanks. I am having, on average, one, maybe two calls a day with entrepreneurs that are seeing this content. Today, I chatted for 45 minutes with somebody who's looking at getting into the apparel business, and they're looking at maybe doing an app or an online web app to help kids and parents who are dealing with trauma in their lives. And it was just very great to be able to share some thoughts. This particular individual thought I had something to offer. And what I was able to share also helped me sort of think through just a couple of things that I'm considering in one business in particular that I'm involved with. So I've really enjoyed this. If you're an entrepreneur, there's a link somewhere where we can connect and we can get together and chat. And I just want to say thanks. It's been a lot of fun, and I hope to continue to build out this network of entrepreneurs. I think what I'm going to end up doing is putting everyone together in maybe like a once a month workshop or a master class or something where I can sort of take everything that entrepreneurs have said that I've talked to, invite those same entrepreneurs into a session, and we can get maybe a little deeper in some of the issues that were discussed. It'd be a great way for me to hear about what the follow-up was after our conversation. So anyway, thanks very much. But let's get into today's topic, which is near and dear to my heart, because it has come out of blood, sweat, and blood and sweat, trying to come up with low-cost, easy ways to generate sales. And simply because of the way my mind works, this was one way that I came up with. And I have talked before about how important a CRM system is. Many small business owners know that they should have a CRM system, but they don't really invest the amount of time that they should in it. And that's mostly because it is kind of nerdy. It does require some knowledge. It's not something that you can do on Monday and then pick it up a month from now. You do need to really be using your CRM system. Across my portfolio, I happen to use HubSpot. It's been great for me. I use it more like a data container, and at the nerdy level, we use APIs to push and pull data in and out of it. But for purposes of today, the concept that I want to share with you is this idea of scoring your contact management system. So what does that mean? Most business owners have a CRM, a customer relationship management system, but they don't really use it. They use it to capture kind of the first sale. They put, maybe if anything, they put some information in there, but they don't really manage that information. They don't send a piece of marketing material out minimum 90 days, even 60 days. They definitely don't use it to record any of their sales activities, like their emails that are going back and forth. And they're missing out on just the best part of being able to capture your interactions and your engagements with customers, because ultimately all of those insights can be used to do what I'm going to talk about today. And that is scoring everyone in your customer relationship system. So what does that mean? It means if I was to sit down with you and we were going to talk about your customers, and you were going to tell me how you desperately needed to generate and boost your sales. We would sit down, we'd have a conversation, and I would say, okay, great. How many people are in your database? And I will just assume, for purposes of today's episode, that you do have a CRM system and you somewhat use it after the point of that initial sale that you get from a brand new customer. So I would sit down and say, how many people in your database? Hopefully you'd give me an answer like, we have like 600 or 6,000, or we have some number of people that over the years we have somehow cobbled into our CRM system. And I would say, great. If today you could only call 12 of them, which 12 would you call? Most business owners will kind of be cheeky and they'll say, oh, well, I call this guy and I call that guy and I call this person, and that's because I know these people and they know me. And I'd say, great, but what if I had to call them? I don't know anything. I don't know the past sales that they had. I don't know the name of their nephew or the name of their dog or the name of their partner. How would I, if I only could make 12 calls and I had to make them to the people that were most likely, or the customers that were most likely to engage with us on a sales basis, that meaning they would give us business, who would I call? So with that question in mind, let's get into kind of a couple of points that as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, if you're looking for a very, very simple way to boost your sales, you can probably start with this episode. And what comes out of this episode, hopefully, is a phone call between you and me, so you can kind of clarify a few things, but it's also going to open up your eyes to see the power of every day making a concerted effort towards recording and capturing the engagement and interactions you have with your customers. So what I will typically do is we'll take our CRM system, we will look at, and you come up with a score, and there's lots of different ways to do this, but I'm going to keep a very simple one today. So you might say, we're going to track the date of the last activity. So that could be a phone call, that could be an email, that could be an email that they opened, that could be a marketing piece that we sent out. So the date of the last activity, when was the date, or what was the date that our customers, all of those customers, last interacted with us? Okay, what is the date of the next activity? Because most businesses don't schedule the very next time they're going to talk to every single customer. I generally have a rule that in our portfolio, if I was to open up a customer's file, I would not only see all of the historical interactions, but the most important thing I would find is the next time we're going to do something with that person. So I get that date. Then I'd have some basic metrics, like what's their average, what is the volume or the total sales that they have done with us over what period of time. Then, this is where the power kicks in, I would begin using some of the engagement metrics, like when was the last time they opened an email? When was the last time they clicked on something in an email? When was the last time they visited a unique URL on our website? And so I'm not going to go any deeper than that because it can get pretty nerdy after this. And this is why I get so excited, because once you get your head around this and you see it work, as I have seen over the last several years, it really becomes addicting, and someone like me wants to tinker with it and try and make it better. But what happens is, if you're able to find that information, then what you do is you give a weighting to each of those things. So you might say, if the date of the last activity with someone was within the last week, we're going to score them a 1. But if the date of the last activity was 30 days ago or 45 days ago, we're going to score them a 4. And if the date of the last activity was 6 months ago, we're going to score them a 10. The idea being that for that particular piece of the score, you're going to give more weight to somebody that hasn't been contacted in a while versus someone that was recently contacted. And then you just go through each of the variables and you have the same type of conversation. You might say, if someone has been clicking on our emails, we will give them a 3. If someone has not been clicking on our emails, we will give them a 5. And the idea being there, if that was kind of your philosophy, was if people aren't clicking on our stuff, we should pick up the phone and talk to them and reintroduce ourselves. In fact, in one of the businesses that I'm involved with, it's a kind of an old school business, and most people do things by phone. When I introduced something as simple as Google reviews, I got pushback from everyone. Oh, our customers aren't going to do that. And wouldn't you know, Google reviews have been amazing. But what I did is, because I needed to get the scores lower for a whole database of contacts, hundreds of them, as I said, look, just pick up the phone and go, hey, this is us. This is what we're doing. We've recently launched a Google review. We'd love it if you could give us one. Now, many people did not. Most people did not, but some did. What did it allow me to do? It gave me the opportunity to have someone on our team reach out, touch our customers, and update that particular field inside of our system. Now that is one piece of information that we now use on a regular basis, and it gives us an excuse to contact someone if they're not interacting with us. So we picked up the phone, called everyone, told them, hey, this is what we're doing. Then we sent them an email with a link to a Google review. What did that do? We got to record the call. So there's some engagement, interaction. Then the system allowed us to track, did they open the email? Because we score those a little differently. And did they click on the Google review link? That gets scored a little differently. And then ultimately, did they leave us a Google review, which we don't score at all. And so with something as basic as this, we were able, believe it or not, we were able to begin trading out some of our customers because the business really wasn't in sales and marketing mode before. Again, for clarity, I define marketing as one-to-many, your business to the entire marketplace, versus one-to-one, which would be your business to a specific customer that is going to purchase something from you. So this particular business didn't have much sales and marketing, but they'd been around forever. They were kind of the old, wow, our customers just know who we are. We use the same ones all the time. But what we were able to do was take our lower margin customers that no one really enjoyed working with, and they're the ones that were the biggest pain all the time, and swap them out for brand new customers that started coming into the funnel because we began really tracking how we were engaging and interacting with our database and then scoring the results. So what do you need to do? You need to, first of all, put a CRM system in place that your business uses. The next thing that you need to do at a minimum is connect your inboxes or begin sending emails through your CRM system to the marketplace. And you can do that on a marketing basis, meaning you're sending like a newsletter or a corporate update, or you send individual emails, just the normal everyday course of business emails that you send to your customers. And as you start tracking that data, there's every CRM system available today will give you the ability to see who opened an email, who clicked on something, how many web pages did they visit. You can kind of you can get a pretty good handle on some very basic variables that if you were to score them, I could come along and go, hey, if I could only call 12 customers in your business today and guarantee that I'm going to get some business opportunities, who do I call? I can't call all 600. I can only call 12. Which 12 do I call? And so that's kind of the idea behind using scoring to boost your sales. And for me, I get excited about it because I've seen it work in so many different situations with so many different variables. But if you kind of put your mind to it, it becomes very, very powerful. And then once you've seen it work, if you're like me, you get religion about it. And then you start fine tuning and tweaking it and really seeing how far you can push your sales and marketing efforts without expending a lot of capital. Now, it does require time. So someone on your team kind of has to run point on it. A small business, that's usually the entrepreneur. In a business that's a little bit bigger, you might give it to your admin team or maybe to someone on your sales team, but somebody has to have a bit of a mind for being able to look at information, watch activity, watch engagement, and then have enough common sense maybe or enough wherewithal to sort of think through, okay, what do we really value? Do we value someone opening an email versus returning a phone call to us? Do we really value someone clicking on a specific URL? For example, in one of our businesses, we have a quote form that we encourage people to fill out, and we track the activity on that particular URL. We're not so concerned with who visits our website because there's lots of different spam bots and people and competitors and so forth that visit our main URL, but we have dedicated URLs that we really watch the traffic on, and then put in our newsletter, put in our email footers, all that sort of stuff. So there's certain things that we track. So you need someone that can kind of think through what's important to us, not kind of get over the top about it, because you can lose your mind. You can sort of go, oh, let's come up with 20 variables and score them this way and that way. I would suggest just start with some very basic ones. And those basic ones should be driven around this idea that the people we have not spoken to or interact with or engaged with over the longest period of time, those are the people that get the higher score, because we want to make sure everyone's score is really low. Or you can do the inverse. You can give people you haven't spoken to in a very long time a very low score, and your job is to build a scoring system off of 4 or 5 variables that push the score up so you know who to talk to. But the point of the exercise is you and I should be able to have coffee. I should be able to ask a question like, if I could only make 12 or 13 calls or 8 calls right now, who would I call? And you should be able to give me a better answer than, well, call the people I know that have been working with me forever. Because chances are you're already getting that business. Remember, the title of this episode was One Easy Way to Boost Sales. One easy way to boost sales is score all of the leads that you don't interact with on a very regular basis, because guaranteed, there are sales opportunities sitting inside of that. So I could go on and on and on, but hopefully you got the general idea of what I was trying to share today. One easy way to boost your sales is to come up with a scoring system. If you need some help with this, then let's talk. Hit the buttons or the links or whatever you need to do to get in touch with me, because I've done this a lot and I know the power behind it, and I would be happy to at least get you going down the road. I won't do the work for you, but I will help you talk through your business. We can talk a little bit about how you either do or don't engage with your customers and what you need to do a better job so that ultimately you can boost your sales. And again, this doesn't require a lot of capital. It just requires time, focus, and ultimately commitment. You have to be doing these things on a regular basis and watching this information. And my habit is every Monday I get this information sent to me. So my job as the leader of the teams I'm leading, my job is to make sure that going into the week, I'm identifying the people we got to make sure we talk to. And if that means I pick up the phone, then I pick up the phone. If that means I sit with our team and make sure that they've made some space to deal with the leads that are scoring really, really high, because that's how we've structured it, then that's my job. So it's worth it. Give it a shot. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. I hope you found it helpful. And if there's something I can do to help you, I would love to. So let's go out there and figure out a way to easily boost your sales.